Full disclosure, the voice you are listening to now is artificially generated, brought to you by satisphonic.com. See the link in the description for more details. What phrase needs to die immediately? But people aren't ready for that conversation is usually said about something the internet is already having that conversation about. Also, this is the internet. It is already having every ridiculous conversation possible. Your lukewarm political take on Twitter isn't shocking anyone. People are actively on there discussing their plans for a new My Little Pony nut jar, but people like that swear that homeless people shouldn't be homeless is a conversation that's gonna stir the pot. Right up there with I could say something, a lot of things, but I won't, motherfucker, you just did. After reading all these, I just feel like we're sick of the internet. I definitely am, but I can't stop. Consume, 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 consume. In these unprecedented times, just because you end a rant with do better does not mean you're right. Yeah, this one really gets me fired up. It's such a self-righteous thing to say. This is just a newer version of get help. Lamborghini won't accept my $27 for a new supercar. Do better. Who hurt you? I'm so ocked. And it's never about real ock things, just common things that 98% of people feel anyway. Like, I'm so ocked about locking the door when I go to the bathroom. I've got this thing where I don't like to be in a car with bats. Whenever someone says that, I get spitefully literal and ask them for tips dealing with the intrusive thoughts. How do you deal with feeling like a horrible person for intrusive thoughts about hurting others when you truly do not wish them harm? Or you just like your pens organized? How? You just like your pens organized. Edit. It could also be edgy. It could also just be your brain doing brain things. This video breaks it down pretty quick. For me, it's not just, oh, I should swerve my car off the bridge. Every once in a while, it is over a dozen times a day of thoughts, telling me to grab something and hurt someone, or to hurt myself, and is very much distressing and a hindrance in my day-to-day life. Sometimes brains say jump off that bridge to let you know it's dangerous, and for you to make the choice not to do it, exercising free will and choosing the safe option. Most corporate lingo, but touch base makes me want to rip my spine out. Let's carve some time out to interface about phrases that we think could be better. We'll circle back to that. Piggybacking on what said, let's circle back to it. I don't know who needs to hear this. Oh, you don't? Then So, I did a thing. It's always when someone bought a car or got a haircut too. Nobody, literally nobody, everyone. Not one soul, not even their own mother. As an empath, I'm sensing you don't really like this phrase. POV followed by a video that is not, in fact, Pope. I came here to say this. Why do I find it so infuriating? My daughter is 8. She starts 80% of her stories with POV. Pof, mom just woke up and there's no coffee, etc. Drives me nuts. Edit. No, she doesn't use social media. No, she doesn't drink coffee. It was an example of a conversation we had in person with her speaking from her mom's point of view. And yay, some of you are harsh and judgmental, but that's okay. It's expected to some degree. My stepson went through a no offense phase, but he wasn't even using it correctly just before pretty much any statement of a fact. Like no offense, I like apples. That was a very long year. Me as a kid saying technically before stating a simple fact with zero technicalities. But technically, that's kind of funny. In a similar vein, the no one memes. Most useless meme prompt ever. If I don't remember, it didn't happen. Do you remember your birth? Then they accuse you of gaslighting. Bitch, disagreeing with you is not gaslighting. You're assuming your memory is perfect and not at all biased. On that note, gaslighting. Gaslighting is a very specific type of abuse where a person makes a victim question their own perceptions. It's not the same as lying, giving your version of events, or making excuses. In fact, actual gaslighting involves very little tangible arguments. It's being a broken record, saying, you didn't see, hear that, 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 or you already said, yes, you already said, yes, you already said, yes. I always like to pull out this video when the topic comes up, the curious case of Dalia Ippolito. To make a long story short, she tried to hire a hitman to kill her husband. The hitman was an undercover cop with a hidden camera, and at around 28:05 into the video, there is a call between Dahlia and her husband, where she tries to gaslight him, actually gaslight, into thinking the footage isn't real. I want to note her speech patterns here. I saw what you saw. I heard what you heard. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. I am giving you my word, it's not true. I heard what you heard and it's not. I saw all of it. There's no explaining her actions. Edit, for example. This is X reason I met this person, not I reason. There's no saying outright they must have faked the footage. The only thing she's doing is just repeating what you saw and heard is not real over and over and over and over and over. It may some minor phrasing changes. My vote is also on gaslighting. It's so overused, so little understanding of what it actually means. Gaslighting is my least favorite of the weaponized therapy words. Had a crazy ex-roommate who used it any time she didn't get her way. Not a phrase, but everyone is misusing gaslighting nowadays, and it's cringe. It's the same with the word narcissist, especially when actual possible narcissists use it to describe someone they just don't like. Nowadays, every mean person is a narcissist and every lie is gaslighting. No, they're not. You're mistaken. You always get these things wrong. Go lie down. I'm sick of I kick. I don't even know what that means. If you know, you know. Dude, he wants to know. Just tell him. Reminds me of my first time playing Halo 2 at a buddy's place. Awk, how do I reload? Because I wanna know. People don't like me because I tell it like it is. Or I have no filter. Or the third version of it, I'm just brutally honest. And then these are the people who get mad when you're brutally honest with them. I say what I want and I speak what I feel. I'm just being me, and I'm just being real. And if you don't like it, she said with a sigh, then maybe you're someone who'd rather a lie. And as she was blinded by a pride to excess, she just couldn't see that this didn't impress. That others found issues with just being blunt. That others were better. That she was a cunt. And you know their Facebook profile proudly proclaims, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. And you know me, but not my story. Brutal honesty, usually with heavy emphasis on the brutal, followed by subjectivity, disguised as an objective fact. A sure way to recognize someone who's at best too socially inept to give constructive criticism, but usually they're just an asshole. Roughly translated, I have no social skills and don't know how to make my point in a constructive manner, so I sound like an asshole. Nobody wants to work anymore. Nobody wants to pay anymore. If you do a job you love, you'll never work a day in your life, or you'll just stop loving that thing. Do you do that too? I always knew I had. Insert mental disorder, physical disorder, octadecos, etc. Here, just because you have done it a total of 3 times or you do it and it's only 1 out of 14 symptoms, doesn't mean you have it. Some people actually have these issues. Edit. I'm just specifically addressing people who think they have 3 disorders because they do 1 symptom when in fact they're just doing a human thing. Example, bouncing your leg isn't always a sign you have Instagram and TikTok went wild with claiming everything is the result of a mental disorder. It's the new astrology. Alpha, my love. I'm a software dev. Alpha means buggy and incomplete. Alpha, definitely not intended for production use. Beta, probably can be used, but needs some polishing. Sigma, already released with 5 major updates. Ligma. You're not a real man, woman, if you can't don't. You're not a real man if you're a hologram. You're not a real woman if you're a desk lamp. But I love lamp. This and it's some bullshit comment. I was today years old whereas today I learned teal is, in my opinion, absolutely fine. Yay, because that is an actual sentence that makes sense. If you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. People who say that rarely have a best. Peeves is just out here spitting wisdom. When you've lived this long, you learn things. I hate how misinterpreted and corrupted this saying has become. What it's supposed to mean is that if you don't want to love someone when they're going through hardship or down on their luck, you don't deserve them when they're successful and happy. It does not mean if you can't put up with my toxicity, you don't deserve me when I'm nice. I hate that shit. Tell me you don't insert thing without telling me you don't insert thing. Tell me you don't do a thing without telling me you don't do the thing without telling me you don't tell me you don't do a thing without do a thing without telling me you don't do the thing. I think I had a stroke. Sorry, not sorry. Louder for the people in the back. Cringe. You forgot, Spot. I had a manager do that to me in real life in front of a lobby full of customers for a mistake she made. I left not soon after. I had a manager do that to me in real life in front of a lobby full of customers for a mistake she made. I left not soon after. I can't understand your accent. Or when people type read that again. Yes, because what they wrote is so profound. It's along the same lines as let that sink in. You're not Plato, Karen. Would you like to add a tip? 18%, 25%, 30%? It's my truth. No dickhead, there is the truth and nothing else. Oh my fucking god, I hate this one. I was casually overhearing The Bachelor one time and every fucking grown-ass woman said this. Let me tell my truth. It ended up being comical when three different truths. It ended up being comical when three different truths. Stupidest fucking phrase I've ever heard. Ok. I could care less. No, you couldn't care less. And don't try and argue that it means I could care less, but that would require effort. So it really means I don't care at all, because that's not how words work. If you say I could care less, you are saying the opposite of I couldn't care less. This one reminds me of made a complete 360. I was today years old. Gaslighting. It's overused. I'm a doom. You can't even take a shower, let alone please a woman. Wipe your ass. Do your research, do your own research. I feel like this is code, for I am too stupid for rational thought, so I am just going to vomit unsubstantiated nuggets of fantasy and try to act smug when you do not agree with my purely emotional standpoint. Anything with skibidi. Like what the fuck even is that?